Welcome back, sports fans. In this segment, I'm going to discuss a little bit about what happened at the French Open during the course of the tournament. As you may know, for those of you who have been listening or may have followed otherwise, Iga Swiatek won the ladies' French Open title, whereas Rafael Nadal won his record-setting 13th French Open title. Most French Open titles ever, and the most titles of that anybody's won of any of the majors in tennis. I was surprised by Iga Swiatek in the fact that she didn't lose a set en route to winning the title, and considering I'd never heard of her before, and also, for those of you who may not know, she's also the first Polish female to win a tennis major as well, and the first teenager to win the French Open since Eva Maioli did it in 1997. The fact that she didn't lose more than 5 games in any match, including the finalist Sofia Kenin, who was the 4th seed, is remarkable. Now, if Sofia Kenin hadn't been injured, I think the outcome could have been different. It also could have gone to a third set. It's hard to assess right now, or for me to assess actually, how good Sofia Kenin is on clay. In time, I'll be able to make that determination, as I think we all will. It's just kind of unfortunate, not kind of unfortunate, it is unfortunate that she was injured in that second set, which pretty much determined the outcome of the match. In terms of the men, Rafael Nadal, not losing a set, and by the way, this is the first time that both the men's and the ladies' champion have won the French Open and perhaps any of the majors without losing a set. For Rafael Nadal to do it is one thing again. Given the pandemic, is something else. However, he'd only played 3 matches coming into the French Open, or going into it. And I remember he had thought that the season was pretty much a lost season. I do wonder how he feels about that now, of course. Probably a lot differently, I would imagine. But, what he's done has been nothing short of incredible. Also, by winning a 13th French Open title, he won his record-tying 20th major. Now he and Roger Federer are tied. Novak Djokovic, for all you who are curious, is at 17. And considering the age difference between he and certainly Roger Federer, he could overtake him. Whether or not he overtakes Rafael Nadal will remain to be seen for sure. It was really something. The other thing I'm going to say is, I knew they were going to put a roof on, and I believe it's court Philippe Chartier, if I remember, center court. It's French Open. I may be off on that, but I believe that's center court, and then court Suzanne-LenglenCup is court 1, if you will. While I like the look of the roof, I could do without it. I was really against them doing it at Wimbledon because the rain is very much a part, or used to be a part, a lot more so, of what goes on at Wimbledon now, or then than now, obviously, since they put the roof in 2009, or that was the first tournament anyway that they played using it. And in fact, they didn't use it for the first time until the next year because it didn't rain throughout the fortnight the very first year. With that having been said, I'm really against them putting a roof at any of the tennis majors. Now only the U.S. Open the U.S. Open now is the only one left that doesn't have a roof, and I fear one of these days you're going to see a roof over Arthur Ashe Court as well. And I really hope that this country doesn't do it. The Australian Open I can understand a little bit, though they took the heat out of play, which used to be a big factor and helped Andre Agassi win his Australian Open titles. Wimbledon has certainly affected the outcome of those matches because I love the fact that you used to be able to play, or had to play, between the raindrops, as Pete Sampras had the rain knocked him out of at least one of his matches, and the one I'm thinking about is the 2006 match he had with Richard Krajicek. And then in 2004, Lindsay Davenport was beat Maria Sharapova soundly, and then the rain came and the outcome totally changed, and that led to Maria Sharapova winning her only Wimbledon title, as it turned out. So it's sad that that happened. And the other thing I want to remark on, because I had no idea they were going to do it, is for whatever reason, I don't know why Ted Robinson was not providing NBC's coverage of the French Open. I mean, he'd done such a great job for 20 years. I don't know why they would go with Dan Hicks, albeit he did a fine job. But Ted Robinson really did a good job in that. So obviously a lot of changes about the French Open this year. And a couple more that startled me, or not startled me, it stunned me, were I don't know what happened to the giant trophy that they used to give the men and the females, which was, I believe, just like the men's, but a little bit smaller. Now you have what I could only call, and I don't mean to belittle the French Open Committee or whoever's responsible for this, but I did take note of it. It's a much smaller trophy that's on a base that are now given to both the male champion, the men's champion, and the ladies champion. And I really miss seeing that cup. Maybe they've been doing this for a while and I haven't taken note of it. I'm just really, really surprised that they did that. And also, the thing I will remark on with the ladies is that now you have an interview before the presentation, and then and then speeches afterwards. And I like the speeches at the French Open. I always have. I just wonder if you really need to have an interview segment like that, though. And I know this was started around 2001, or I believe 2002, maybe even 2003 at Wimbledon. And it's kind of spread, I would guess, throughout all the majors. I don't know how they handle it, the Australian Open, and what they do about that. It just seems really something that you have a half-hour presentation ceremony, when I remember that they used to just hand the champion a trophy and they would kiss it and then walk around with it. Something I didn't see so much this year. And that reminds me of one more thing. I was very pleased and very surprised, more so than that, by the fact there was any kind of crowd at the French Open. I didn't know until towards the end that France was allowing 1,000 spectators at each event. And so far as I can tell, it seems to have worked out. I haven't heard any reports about any new coronavirus cases there, but then again, that doesn't mean there weren't either. So, a very, very different French Open, to be sure. I do believe next year that the majors are going to be a lot more normalized and will be on schedule and will have fans in the stands. And it may not be totally like it was before all of this started, but I think it's going to be a lot closer to normal next year than it has been this year. In the next segment, I'm going to talk about the NBA. I'll recap the Lakers championship a little bit and discuss the future as far as I know, and I'll make some predictions about what I think is going to happen with that going forward. Stay tuned to Sports with Ed on Ed's Sports Channel.